The sun above Colony Theta never rose again. Dark smoke covered the sky, turning the once beautiful colony into a graveyard of ash and silence. Burned buildings stood like broken bones, cracked and half-fallen, their metal frames twisted by fire. Nothing moved except the dust and the wind that carried the smell of burnt flesh. The rescue ship from Earth landed slowly, its landing gear sinking slightly into the blackened soil. Captain Elias Stone stepped out first, his boots crunching on the cracked ground. Behind him came medics and soldiers, scanning for any signs of life. "Where is everyone?" whispered a young medic, her voice shaking as she looked around. No one answered, because no one knew. Colony Theta had gone dark 2 days ago. No messages, no replies, no beacon, and now Earth knew why. Bodies were found near the shelters, frozen, in positions of terror, many not even armed. Some were clutching children, others shielding loved ones with their bodies. There were no bullet wounds, no plasma burns from known weapons. Instead, strange black marks covered the corpses like something had drained the life from inside them. Stone knelt beside one of the bodies, eyes narrowing. "This wasn't pirates," he said quietly. One of the soldiers called out, "Captain, over here." In the corner of a broken dormitory, they found her, a little girl, barely 5 years old, shaking under a metal table. Her skin was not human, pale blue and soft, her eyes wide and glowing faintly purple, alien-born, but raised among humans, one of many children born of peace treaties between species. She didn't speak, not at first. She just looked at them, eyes filled with something beyond fear, something like memory. Stone knelt and offered her a ration bar. "It's okay, little one, we're here now." She took the bar but didn't eat it. Instead, she pointed toward the sky with trembling fingers. Above them, clouds of black smoke parted briefly, and for a moment, something moved in the clouds, something massive, silent, and alive. Then it was gone back at the ship. They found the main station mostly destroyed, but the black box was still intact. They played the last recorded message sent before the silence. A voice came through, broken and full of static. "This is Colony Theta. We are under attack, not pirates. Not known tech. They came from shadows. THEY. Then screaming, then nothing. Stone looked at the team, his face pale. Whatever hit this colony, it wasn't random. A short distance from the tower, they found something buried under the wreckage. It was a device alien in shape, glowing faintly, and still active. Their engineer scanned it, then looked up with panic in his eyes. "Sir, this thing, it's transmitting coordinates." "Coordinates to where?" Stone asked. The engineer hesitated. "To Earth." Everyone went silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then the little girl spoke, her voice barely a whisper, but clear. "They are coming," she said. Stone froze. "Who?" he asked. She looked at him with hollow eyes, the ones with no names behind them. The station sparked once more. A final message autoplayed, encrypted, and sent straight to Earth's embassy. The message was short, only 3 words. "They are here." Stone stood, his hand going to his earpiece. "This is Captain Elias Stone. Colony Theta is gone. All civilians presumed dead, except one survivor. Unknown enemy, unknown weapons. Possible biological or technological hybrid." He paused. "Repeat, possible invasion force en route to Earth." Looked up at the burned sky, jaw tight. "Tell Earth," he said. "Peacetime is over." The team gathered, moving fast, carrying the child to safety, scanning the skies as the smoke swirled above. And somewhere, unseen through the clouds, something watched them back, something ancient, something hungry. And it had just begun knocking, the Earth Embassy on Zirenth. Prime buzzed with light conversation and laughter. Inside the grand marble halls of the Galactic Council, diplomats from hundreds of species gathered, sipping exotic drinks and discussing trade. At the far end, Ambassador Lara Vance stood in front of the council podium, eyes scanning the room filled with alien politicians, nobles, and generals. She looked calm on the outside, but her knuckles were white around the data tablet in her hand. The message she carried had come just hours ago, transmitted from Captain Elias Stone. Colony Theta destroyed, enemy unknown, coordinates targeted Earth. She cleared her throat and began, "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, I bring grave news." The chatter stopped, heads turned. Lara tapped the device, projecting images from Colony Theta burned structures, destroyed homes, and then the body of a mother shielding her child. Gasps echoed. "Colony Theta is no more," she said, her voice steady. "We believe an ancient enemy has returned, one we do not yet understand." Whispers spread like wildfire, until one alien Senator Grolake of the Tevarn Dominion burst into laughter. "You humans always believe the sky is falling," he said, his scales glittering with amusement. "Perhaps you burned your own colony and now want sympathy." Lara's jaw clenched, but she stayed calm. "The attack wasn't human technology," she replied. "No known weapons left those kinds of wounds." Another delegate stood, a soft-skinned being with shimmering hair. "Perhaps a pirate group," she offered. "A tragic but local matter." Lara pointed to the last message from Theta. "They are here." A pause, then more laughter, soft, cool, dismissive. "You humans scare too easily," said Ambassador Drox of the Valari, sipping his drink. "You live on one planet, and already cry invasion when something scratches your doorstep." "No," Lara said firmly. "We've traced a signal something is transmitting toward Earth. Possibly a scout wave." She tapped again, projecting a glowing alien device. Her team had recovered, but even that was not enough. A council judge tapped his staff. "Ambassador Vance, without solid proof of an interstellar threat, the council will not engage in military action." "Do nothing then," she replied coldly. "But don't say we didn't warn you." She turned and walked out, her boots echoing in the silent hall, the laughter behind her still ringing in her ears. Back on Earth, inside Command Base Atlas, General Holt stood over a holographic map, watching red dots appear one by one. They were signals moving across the outer systems, heading inward, toward Earth. "Still think it's pirates?" he muttered. Behind him, Lieutenant Kai stepped forward. "Permission to activate Project Ember?" General Holt didn't hesitate. "Do it." Beneath the base, locked behind layers of steel and silence, machines began to wake up. Hidden warships, unmanned drone fleets, planetary defense grids kept secret for decades, now blinking to life, not for conquest, not for power, just as a last line of defense. The peace had lasted too long. Now the storm was coming. Aboard the S Horizon, the largest Terran ship ever built but never used in war, Captain Elias Stone stood in the command room, looking at the child he had rescued. She sat on a bench, hugging her knees, staring out the window into the stars. Her eyes glowed slightly as she whispered, "They hide in the dark, where your satellites cannot see." Stone knelt beside her. "Do you know who they are?" She nodded slowly. "They were forgotten, even by the stars." He swallowed. "What do they want?" Her voice trembled. "They want silence, and they want your world to sleep." Stone stood, turning to his crew. "Prepare for intercept." "But sir," his second-in-command said, "we haven't been cleared for engagement." "I don't care," he answered. "If the Council won't act, Earth will." Back at the Galactic Council, something unexpected happened. One of the outer colonies to Kali Station sent a message. It was short, barely a sentence, but it came with a terrifying visual. An entire fleet reduced to floating wreckage ships split in half, debris spinning, no life signs. The message simply read, "We saw them." We screamed. They did not stop. For the first time, the council chambers fell completely silent. Even the ones who had laughed sat frozen, faces pale, eyes wide. The whispers started again, but now they were whispers of fear, not jokes. On Earth, the skies began to shift. Something was entering the system. Something large, dark, and invisible to most sensors. Only Earth's secret defense systems picked up the faint gravity disturbances. And Lara Vance, watching from the orbital station, whispered. They didn't listen. She turned to her communicator. This is Ambassador Vance. All units prepare for war. Because Earth may have wanted peace, but now the war had arrived at its door. It came with no warning, no signal, no message, no lights. Just silence followed by fire. The Zarkith fleet entered the solar system like shadows pulling apart the stars. Dozens of long black, bone-like ships cut across space, their hulls pulsing. With faint, red glow like veins filled with molten blood, they moved without engines, without sound, without reason. The first to fall was the civilian station near Pluto. It didn't even have weapons. Just a science outpost and a few families studying deep space minerals. In one cold minute, the station was torn in half, its pieces dragged silently into the black. Then Neptune's outpost went quiet, then Uranus, then Saturn's ring watchers. Stop transmitting. General Holt stared at the data feed from Earth's Central Defense Command. His voice was low. They're coming in a straight line, all the way to us. On the ESS horizon, Captain Elias Stone gripped the railing on the bridge, watching the enemy fleet through the reinforced view screen. He whispered, "They're not just moving. They're hunting." His second-in-command, LT Kai, looked nervous. "Orders, sir?" Stone nodded. "We hit first." The human fleet, silent for generations, now roared to life. Project Ember had waited in the dark too long, ships with thick armor and black hulls launched from hidden bases on Mars and Earth's moon. Missile silos opened underwater near Earth's polar caps. AI-controlled drones flew up from every defense satellite Earth had secretly built. Thousands of Terran war machines pointed at the invaders. The first missile, named Hope, launched from the S Valor, racing toward the lead Zarkith ship. It hit. Everyone held their breath. The alien ship stopped, its hull glowing red from the impact, and then it didn't break. It didn't explode. It absorbed the energy like drinking it. Kai gasped. That missile had a nuclear core. The alien ship opened, revealing something inside like a mouth, wide and long and filled with light. Then it fired. A red beam cut through the ES Valor, splitting the mighty Terran ship in half. Screams echoed across the comms, but Captain Stone didn't flinch. "Deploy the drones," he ordered, "and bring the horizon in close." The sky above Earth turned red as thousands of black drones swarmed toward the enemy fleet. They moved in strange formations, dodging enemy blasts, diving straight into enemy ships. Each drone had one mission: find a weak point and detonate several. Alien ships started slowing down, pulsing erratically. Direct hits. Someone called on the bridge. "Their outer armor's cracking." "Good," Stone said. "Now let's see if they bleed." Down on Earth, Ambassador Lara Vance stood inside the Defense Command room, her heart racing as reports flooded in. The Zarkith fleet had reached Jupiter's orbit, and one of their ships had broken off. It was heading straight for Earth's upper atmosphere, and it wasn't flying, it was falling. No one knew why, until it crashed into the far side of Earth's moon. The impact made the ground shake as far as Earth's surface. Then came silence. For a moment, hope returned. Maybe the enemy ship was destroyed. Then the sensors screamed. Something had crawled out of the wreckage. It was alive, and it was moving toward Earth's surface in a small escape pod. The pod crashed into Greenland, deep in the icy wastelands. Soldiers arrived minutes later, weapons ready, scanners scanning. Inside the cracked pod was a creature 8 feet tall. Skin like black stone, glowing red eyes, no mouth, no armor, just muscle. It looked at the soldiers and didn't move. Then it began to change. Its shape twisted, bones cracked. Its body forming new arms, new blades, new tools for killing. One soldier backed away in fear. "It's adapting," he said. The creature spoke. Its voice like metal scraping metal. "Your world ends," it said, and then it charged. Meanwhile, Captain Stone stared at the main screen, watching as the Zarkith fleet finally showed signs of struggle. One enemy ship broke in half under heavy drone fire. Another exploded when human stealth ships got close and fired direct plasma shots into its core. "They're not invincible," he muttered. "They just thought we were soft." Otakai grinned. "Guess they forgot Earth's history," Stone nodded. "We never start wars. But we damn sure end them." Back at the council on Zeranth Prime, the alien leaders watched the battle unfold on holographic displays. There was no laughter now, no jokes, only silence. One delegate finally spoke. "What are the humans doing?" Another answered with fear in his voice. "Fighting back." As Earth's skies burned red with fire and steel, as the stars above turned into a battlefield, the people of Earth stood behind their soldiers, their ships, and their leaders, because peace had been broken, and now humanity remembered how to fight. The snow in Greenland turned red. The creature from the crashed pod stood over 10 dead soldiers, their weapons useless, their armor torn like paper. It didn't bleed. It didn't speak again. It just kept walking. Forward, through wind, through bullets, through fire. Human forces pulled back, unable to stop it. Back in Earth's central command, General Holt slammed his fist on the table. "What is that thing?" The room was silent, except for one analyst typing fast. "Its body is rewriting itself," she said, eyes wide. "It learns, adapts, and then becomes immune." Holt stared at the screen. "Then we stop fighting it like machines," he turned to his war council. "It's time to fight like humans." Halfway across the planet, in a hidden bunker deep in the Amazon jungle, a special operations team received their orders. Led by Sergeant Reeve, the team didn't carry heavy weapons. They carried traps, old explosives, sharpened spikes, portable EMPs, and tools for ambush. They moved silently, like shadows, not to face the creature head-on, but to hunt it. Meanwhile, in orbit, the war still burned across the stars. Earth's drone fleets had slowed the Zarketh ships, but now their AI was being hacked by the enemy. Some drones turned mid-battle and attacked their own side. Captain Elias Stone ordered a full shutdown. "They're turning our weapons against us." Eltikai warned. "We're outnumbered, outgunned." Stone stood quietly, watching the enemy swarm grow on the screen. "No," he said. "They're just better at space war." He tapped the screen, zooming in on Earth's surface. "But they don't know ground war." In a ruined city outside New Berlin, Germany, civilians took shelter underground. Zarketh pods rained from the sky, releasing twisted soldiers with bone armor and blade arms. But Earth's cities weren't empty, not anymore. The enemy walked into traps holes hidden under rubble. Sniper nests disguised as fallen towers, gas lines rigged to explode, and when the aliens thought they had won, fire poured from the rooftops. Bullets rained from windows, and old human tanks roared back to life. A child, barely 10, stood beside her father holding a slingshot, firing steel balls dipped in acid toward the enemy. She hit one square in the eye, and it fell screaming. Humans didn't just fight. They resisted. Back in Greenland, the creature walked into a narrow frozen canyon. "That was a mistake." SGT Reeves' voice came through the comm. "We've got it boxed in." At once, they triggered. Explosives buried beneath the ice. The ground cracked, opening a deep hole that swallowed the beast. Then came gas canisters, poisonous to carbon-based life, but not to humans in suits. The creature roared, climbing up, its body already mutating to resist the poison. But it didn't know the next trick. EMP charges hit from 3 sides, overloading its nervous system. It dropped for 3 seconds. That's when the humans moved. In not to shoot, no, that wouldn't work, but to inject. They slammed a specially designed viral weapon into the creature's chest coated with DNA from the alien girl rescued at Colony Theta. A virus meant to confuse. The creature twitched, stood, then froze. It turned and ran inside the S horizon. The alien girl sat in a small room, watching the stars. Suddenly, she stood, eyes wide. "They feel it," she said softly. "They feel fear." Captain Stone turned to her. The virus? She nodded. It's not just sickness, it's memory, she whispered. They remember loss, and now they feel it again. In space, one Zarketh ship began turning away, then another, soon. 6 ships were fleeing the battlefield. General Holt received the keel. Report, eyebrows raised. Are they retreating? His advisor grinned. Looks like it, sir. But Holt didn't smile. They're not afraid of our weapons, he said. They're afraid of something else. In the council chambers on Zirinth Prime, the alien leaders watched. In silence, the human fleet had taken damage, but they were still standing, still fighting, still winning. Senator Grolek, the same one who laughed before, now sat pale. Hands trembling, he whispered, "The humans are monsters." "No," said a voice beside him. It was Ambassador Vance, returning from Earth. "We're survivors," she said. "You mock what you don't understand." She walked forward and projected a new image in the center of the chamber. Alien creature fleeing from human fire, its body smoking. "This is what happens," Lara said, "when peace is broken, and on Earth, the skies were quiet for now." The first strike was over, but the war had just begun, and the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Never bring war to the home of humans. Because humans fight differently. They fight with rage, with pain, with memory, and they never give up. The galaxy thought Earth would fall. The Zarketh had never lost a war, but now, for the first time in their long, shadowed history, they hesitated. The virus inside their soldiers spread not through blood, but through thought, fear, confusion, hesitation, all things the Zarketh were not built to feel. But now they did, because the humans had shown them something new. Defiance, in deep space, far from Earth. A secret human fleet gathered. These weren't defense ships. These were offense, war cruisers, stealth frigates, plasma-armed destroyers vessels. Hidden since the early Terran years, waiting for a day like this. At the front of the fleet was the ESS Vengeance, a ship built for one purpose: to strike first and end it fast. General Holt appeared on screen, looking at Captain Elias Stone. "Are you sure about this?" Holt asked. Stone nodded. "We've played defense long enough." He glanced at the alien girl beside him, now named Sira. "She told us where their breeding worlds are," he said. "If we don't hit them now, they'll come back stronger." Holt gave a slow nod. "Then make them remember what happens when you bring war to Earth." The fleet jumped through hyperspace, faster than light, cutting across star systems toward a red dwarf star. There, hidden behind asteroid fields and radiation clouds, floated a dark, twisted world, Zarketh Prime, the birthplace of the enemy. But something strange happened. There were no defenses, no fleets, no patrols, no warnings, only silence. Stone narrowed his eyes. "Something's wrong." Sarah stood at his side, trembling. They left it." He turned to her. "Left it? Why?" "Because they are afraid of what they made there," she whispered. "Even they don't go back." The fleet slowly entered orbit, scanning the surface. The planet was filled with structures black. Towers, living buildings, and massive craters pulsing with red light. Then the signals came, hundreds of them. Zarketh life forms still on the planet, but trapped, mutated, wrong, not soldiers, monsters. Born from experiments the Zarketh had abandoned, now. Waking up, suddenly, one of the human ships lost power, then another, then 3 more. "They're hacking us," shouted the comms officer. Stone stepped forward. "Shut down all AI systems, go manual." "But sir," "Do it." Within seconds, crews across the fleet took control manually, hands on every panel, flying old-school style. That's when Earth's greatest strength showed again. Adaptation, using only raw instinct, human pilots flew through the chaos, dodging energy blasts, firing M payloads, dropping nukes directly into the enemy craters. Explosions rocked the surface of Zarketh Prime, sending waves of black fire into the sky. The mutated creatures tried to crawl into orbit, some with wings, some on strange metallic limbs, but the humans held the line. Every human ship fought like it had a soul, because the people inside did, back on Earth. The alien council watched in real time. No one spoke, no one laughed. They had seen wars, yes, but not like this. Not humans launching a counterattack while still bleeding, still broken. Not humans going to the enemy's home. Senator Gralick finally whispered, "What if they win?" Ambassador Lara Vance turned to him. "Then you'll owe them more than an apology." Inside the SS Vengeance, Sierra fell to her knees, clutching her head. "They're screaming," she cried, not out loud. Inside, Stone knelt beside her. "What do they fear?" She looked up, eyes glowing. "You," she said. "Not your weapons, not your ships. Your pain," she whispered. "They don't understand it. They can't fight it. When you lose something, you get angry," she said. They never expected that. Down on the surface, a special Terran ground unit landed led by Sergeant Reeve. Their mission was to destroy the Central Hive, the place where Zarketh minds were born and connected. They moved fast, using terrain, heat signatures, and noise bombs to distract the enemy. At the Hive's core, they found it. A massive brain-like structure connected by black roots to the planet itself. It pulsed like a heart. Reeve placed the final bomb beside it. "Let's send them a message," he said. They ran, jumped into orbit shuttles. And seconds later, the planet's heart exploded. The shockwave sent light flashing across nearby stars. The enemy fleet scattered. Some vanished into deep space. Some self-destructed. Some simply stopped moving, as if their will had died with their world. Captain Stone watched from orbit, his eyes full of fire and sorrow. "It's done," he said. "But this isn't victory. It's a warning." Back home, Earth watched the stars and held its breath for the first time. The galaxy understood the truth. Humanity had been peaceful not because it was weak, but because it chose to be, and now that choice was gone. The stars over Earth were quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that came after a scream, the kind that made people wonder if something worse was still out there. Waiting, watching. The Zarketh Hive world had been destroyed. Their fleet scattered, and their soldiers either dead or hiding. But no one on Earth celebrated, not really, because humans knew war better than anyone. And war never truly ended. It just changed shape. At the Galactic Council on Zeranth Prime, the mood had shifted. The chamber was no longer filled with laughter and mockery when the name Earth was spoken. Now it was filled with fear. Delegate after delegate stood behind their podiums, watching footage from the battlefield. A single Terran soldier taking out 3 Zarketh warriors with only a knife. A human warship crashing into a much larger alien vessel and still winning. And worst of all, the detonation of the Zarketh Hive core. It made many species question a dark truth. Had they misunderstood Earth completely? Senator Gralick of the Tevran Dominion, once the loudest voice mocking humanity, now sat in silence, his hands trembling. Others spoke for him now. "Earth has shown power beyond logic," said the Valari ambassador, "and a willingness to use it when threatened. But what if they are no longer just reacting?" Asked another delegate. "What if they start acting?" Whispers filled the room. "Humans were peaceful," someone said. "But that peace is broken. They may never return to it." In Earth orbit, Ambassador Lara Vance stood at the window of the Terran Embassy satellite. Her arms crossed, her eyes cold. She listened as her assistant read the latest messages. 7 minor species have requested Earth's protection, he said. 3 more want to form trade alliances. She didn't answer, just kept watching. The stars, and 2 empires, he added carefully, have asked if Earth is open to leading a new peacekeeping force. That made her turn. "Peacekeeping?" she said, almost with a laugh. "They watched us burn, and now want us to protect them?" Her voice was quiet but sharp. "They're not asking for peace," she said. "They're asking to not be next." In the ruins of New Berlin, where Zarketh soldiers had fallen weeks ago, life was returning slowly. Children played in the rubble, planting flowers in cracked concrete. but the scars remained. And among the flowers stood a memorial photos, names, helmets, ribbons, and at the center, a handprint, small and covered in dried paint, left by the alien girl, Sarah. She stood beside it now, holding Lara's hand. "They're not coming back, right?" she asked softly. Lara squeezed her hand. "No, sweetheart, not if we can help it." Sarah looked up at the sky, her voice small but strong. "Then we should help everyone, not just Earth," she whispered. "The others too, back on the S horizon." Captain Elias Stone stood in the command center, watching new signals light up the galactic map. Alien ships, dozens of them, moving through systems near Earth. But these weren't enemies, they were refugees, running from something. Stone frowned. "Zarkith?" he asked. The analyst shook her head. "No, sir, this isn't Zarkith tech." She zoomed in on one blurry signal. The ship was made of shifting metal, constantly changing shape. Stone's eyes narrowed. "What the hell is that?" The signal moved fast, then vanished, like it was never there. At Council headquarters, alarms rang out. A probe had just gone missing from a deep space listening post. The last image it sent was strange stars bending, time distorting, and something moving between dimensions. They called it the Void Wake, a name whispered in old archives. Lost languages, not a species, a force, ancient, consuming, unexplainable, and now active. General Holt received the file in Earth Command. Brows furrowed, he looked at Lara, then at Stone through a hologram call. "Something woke up," he said. "Something older than the Zarkith." Stone crossed his arms. "Then we prepare." "Again, we barely survived this war," Lara said. "Our people are still healing." Holt's voice was quiet. "We don't have time to heal." There was silence between them, until Sarah stepped into frame, standing beside Stone. "They'll need us," she said, "all of them." And in the cold between galaxies, something stirred. Something that had not moved in eons. It had watched the Zarkith burn. Now it turned its gaze toward the fire that had burned them, toward Earth. It did not hate, it did not fear, it simply wanted, and it was coming. Earth had changed from a peaceful blue dot to a burning torch in the dark, and the galaxy was learning, one message at a time. You don't knock on Earth's door unless you're ready for what answers. The galaxy had changed. Where once Earth was seen as a peaceful backwater world, now it stood at the center of every discussion, every strategy meeting, every fear. The name humanity no longer meant newcomers, it meant survivors, it meant fighters, it meant don't make the same mistake twice. At Earth's high orbit, the ESOS horizon floated silently, its hull scarred from the last battles, engines humming low like a giant sleeping beast. Captain Elias Stone stood on the observation deck, hands behind his back, staring out at the stars. Behind him, young officers worked quietly, everyone knowing the importance of this day. Today, the Council would meet again, but this time on Earth, not because Earth asked, but because the galaxy insisted. Below, in New Geneva, a giant circular chamber had been built, half war room, half council hall, with seats made for species of all shapes and sizes, and in the center of it all stood Ambassador Lara Vance. No longer in the shadows, no longer ignored. Her voice was calm but firm. "You all saw what happened," she said. "We warned you." She walked in a slow circle, her voice echoing. "You laughed while our colonies burned. You doubted while our ships fell. You dismissed us until you watched us win." Many delegates lowered their eyes. Some were ashamed, some still afraid, others thoughtful. One spoke up, a small creature with 4 eyes and shimmering scales. "You destroyed the Zarkith," he said. "And now you prepare for something worse." Lara nodded slowly. "We didn't want war," she said. "We never asked for it." She tapped her tablet, projecting images of Earth cities in ruin, families crying, names of the dead, but we remember it well. Meanwhile, Sarah stood outside, by a small flower bed growing in the shadow of the great building. Children, human and alien, ran around. Laughing, she placed a small seed into the soil, covering it with her hands. It grows better when planted together, she whispered, as a young human boy helped her water it. Back in orbit, General Holt addressed the defense network, the Void Wake. Signals were increasing new ripples across space, like waves in a dark sea. But this time, Earth wouldn't wait. They had learned, and now, so had the galaxy. Human ships began patrolling not just Earth, but outer sectors too, not to conquer, but to watch, to warn, and when needed to protect. For every alliance Earth formed, a new star was lit on the galactic map. Species once at odds now trained side by side. Old enemies learned the value of human strategy, and young races learned the price of ignoring that quiet voice. The Council voted unanimously for Earth to lead the first unified defense pact, a peacekeeping force unlike anything seen before, one built not just with metal, but with memory. Human veterans trained recruits from distant systems, teaching not just how to fire, but why to hold fire. Captain Stone gave lectures on tactics, but also stories of the girl hiding under a table on Colony Theta, of the ship that sacrificed itself to save refugees, of the day peace shattered, and fire replaced laughter. Sarah, now fluent in many languages, stood before a classroom full of alien children. She didn't talk about war. She talked about flowers, and stars, and stories, she said. If we learn to hold hands before weapons, maybe we won't need weapons next time. But in secret, Earth still prepared. The Void Wake still stirred. And Earth's new motto was written into every warship, every command post, every helmet. Hope for peace. Prepare for war. On a quiet evening, Elias Stone sat beside Lara Vance, both watching the stars. She asked him softly, "Do you think they'll come?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked up and whispered, "I hope they don't." Then he turned to her, voice steady, "But if they do, they'll find we're not just humans anymore. We are the ones who rose when left for dead. The ones who remember fire. And now, the ones who light the way." Above them, the Terran flag waved not just with pride, but with purpose, no longer just for Earth, but for every voice too small to be heard, every world too weak to stand, every species that once feared alone. Because when war came knocking, Earth answered, and now, the galaxy knew better.